Hello from a new office, a home office at a time when we're not supposed to be leaving our homes. I'm Bob Buter with the Yoga Life Institute. Usually I'd be giving a talk from one of our yoga rooms or my yoga office with all the books and so on. Well, here we are in a time of much change. This is exactly one of the principles that yoga teaches. There is, in every aspect of yoga psychology, the word change floats around, it's talked about, it's tried to be understood. It explains when they talk about reducing the ego, they're doing that to reduce the amount of effect change has on us. So let me explain. If I'm sitting here worried about what someone thinks about me, okay, we could say, hey, that's inconsequential unless they're my boss and what they think about me could cause me to lose my job. Suddenly that person's thoughts about me become far greater. If they're my child and they don't love me, that would be devastating. So I'm worried about what they think about me, my parents, my friends, and so forth. However, in all those situations, we don't control anything about what those other people think about us. So if we define ourselves based on what other people may be thinking about us, we're very vulnerable to anxiety and all other sorts of worry, because essentially our ego is placed far outside of ourselves, and therefore we feel a lack of control, which would lead to anxiety, upset feelings, nervousness, and so forth. So one of the reasons they're teaching in yoga to reduce our ego, that means to not pay attention and worry about these externals, but to take it closer. So imagine reducing your ego to thinking about your own thoughts. What do you think about? What do you think about others? Are you pleasant and kind and compassionate? Do you accept others? Do you avoid gossip at all costs? Do you only think positive thoughts? Are you considerate and kind? Well, now you're bringing your ego back in to your feelings and your thoughts. It's not the end, but it is far different than being outstretched to what other people think as opposed to just what you think. At least you have the ability to mold your own thoughts. Well, turn the world upside down, as we've had now, and you're going to be feeling change in every aspect of your life, even if you have your ego somewhat tight and you're very kind and considerate, because your wishes and your plans have now been taken away or changed dramatically. There still is a solution, because simultaneously in all this philosophy, when they talk about life is change, accept the change, and so forth, there's also the concept of not change, things that are completely stable. And that would be the spiritual essence of all things. So as we're trying to make our ego even smaller, which would be making it stronger or healthier, we can turn it in completely and look at what aspect of ourself is not changing, what aspect of life is not changing. Now you can't measure it because everything we can measure is changing. So you move into this spiritual dimension and you can get into all kinds of arguments or agreements or disagreements about whether God exists, about whether you're a spirit or you have a soul, what have you. But if you just think about the innermost principle in whatever belief system you hold, that area is going to be most comforting, especially now when everything else has changed. So we have a lot of emotions probably right now. There's a lot of fear, and it's not just light fear. This is fear of paying my rent. This is fear of having food, literally. This is the fear of our future welfare, of the elderly's lives, of even our own. There's so many fears floating around, not to be taken lightly. The thing I wanted to share with you is that if you can take time to be quiet, let yourself get close to your unchanging self, to the part of life that is completely internal. The closer you get to that, if you don't deny your emotions, you will start to understand them better. And when you understand the roots of the fear, you will realize that yes, there's some serious issues going on right now, but there are also likely solutions to those issues. There is a lot of unknowns, which means, well, things could be even better than I ever expected. Things could be worse than I ever expected. The fact is, I don't know right now. So the only real solution is to find that innermost quiet and let that be your strength. As soon as you get pulled away, this is why I will often say, be careful of the media, be careful of the news that's 24 hours now, the updates you can receive through every technological port that you have. All these things are taking you further from that center. And what happens is if you live there and constantly explore the news and so forth, then you're pulling yourself away. It's one thing to listen to the news for a little while and then digest it. It's another thing to be listening for hours and then wonder why you feel anxious and upset and scared. So pull yourself back and you'll start to see answers to your own emotions coming up. The strength side, the silver lining of the cloud, the benefit in the midst of the difficulty. There may be a lot of these. You can certainly find them within yourself. So take some time, do some yoga practices, quiet your mind, and allow your emotions to have their voice, understand them, and then you'll ultimately find more peace. And that's what I wish for you more than anything else, that you have some peace so that you can make really good decisions in a really difficult time. So again, nice to speak to you. I miss everybody very much. Look forward to speaking to you in person, hopefully sometime soon.